My name is Jessica Keener. I am one of the program coordinators at First Five Contra Costa, and I have the pleasure of introducing our parent panel this afternoon, the moment you've all been waiting for. So moderating this panel, we have Dr. Brad Berman. Dr. Berman is a board certified for both general pediatrics and developmental behavioral pediatrics. He is a clinical professor of pediatrics at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital and a fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Presently retired from direct clinical patient care, Dr. Berman has provided consultations and care in Contra Costa County and the Greater Bay Area for over 35 years for children of all ages with unique profiles of neurodiversity and disability. He has been a frequently invited speaker and is a contributing author of over 45 publications and book chapters on wide-ranging topics for child development. Thank you, Dr. Berman. And for our parent panelists, we have Miss Connie Newborn Payne, Miss Sheena Glover, and Maite Yasso.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear okay? It was on? Oh, I turned it off. By accident. All right. Can you hear me now? Yes, good. This is good, right? We're all kindergartners at heart. First of all, thank you to the coordinators for this convening from First Five Contra Costa. Thank you for hosting and putting this amazing display on. And as well for acknowledging just the incredible mindset and beliefs of First Five Contra Costa in taking care of children with needs within our county and of your stalwart support in so many ways, and I give honor to First Five Contra Costa. So I have no prior knowledge of these parents. I have no prior knowledge of their children in order to make this authentic. And unfortunately, we need about 2.5 more hours to really make this really authentic, right? So we only have 40 minutes, and we had to distill it down to a couple of key questions. So what I'm going to do is ask each parent to share perhaps 2 or 3 minutes just about themselves, their child, and whatever they wish to share about their child that's relevant for the conversation today. And then we will begin with the questions that I will ask them, and we'll see how it goes. We have 40 minutes, which means what time do I need to end at? 2:20? Okay, great. All right, so let's begin with Connie, please.
Good afternoon. Oops, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I am Connie Newborn Payne. I am a mother of 4. I am a grandmother of 4. And in my 70s, I find myself with a 5-year-old that I am guardian to. And so that's the person that I would like to speak about, and his name is Messiah. Messiah is 5. As I said, he is my grandson. I have had him since he was 1 month old. And he was diagnosed as autistic at age 3. We have been working, and I'm learning, because this is my first experience with this. I'm a retired educator, but when I was working, there was, autism was not at the forefront at all. And so I'm sure I probably had some autistic children and really didn't even realize it. And now that I look back on it, I realize that I probably did. And it just was not something that was focused on at that time. So this is new for me. I am learning a lot, and I'm hoping I'm going to learn a lot today also. Thank you.
Hola, yo soy Maite. María Teresa, Maite, me pueden decir, mis amigos me dicen Maite. Soy mexicana, llegué hace 9 años a este país. Mi inglés es bastante básico, necesito ayuda siempre. Me estoy esforzando. Y tengo un hijo de 7 años, él se llama Mark. fue diagnosticado con autismo a los 16 meses. Yo amo First Five porque gracias a First Five mi hijo fue diagnosticado temprano y nosotros pudimos darle la intervención temprana para que él tuviera más herramientas para la vida. Eso ha marcado no solamente la vida de él, sino de nosotros como familia. Y por eso quiero decirles que les hablo a ustedes con mucho respeto, con mucha admiración, porque lo que ustedes hacen es ser superhéroes de los niños, ser superhéroes de las familias. Ustedes transforman comunidades. No solamente es ir y dar una clase y seguir un currículum. Ustedes realmente impactan la vida de las personas. Entonces, gracias por eso. Y dije que iba a hablar despacio, no sé, ya me pasé.
Maite says, my name is Maite. My friends call me Maite. I am Mexican, and I have a 9-year-old who I'll be talking about today. Seven, so sorry. I've been in the U.S. for 9 years. I've been in the U.S. for 9 years, and I don't speak English very well. That's what she said, but I could hear her. She can. But she's trying. She's trying really hard. And yeah, her child is Mark. He is 7 years old, but he was diagnosed at 16 months. And she really thanks First Five because part of the First Five supports is what helped her to get her child's diagnosis early on and therefore get him support early on. This experience has marked her life, not just Mark's, but also her life, her family's life. And with that, she says she has a lot of respect and admiration for what you all do as ECE providers because to her, you're superheroes and you have the potential to transform people and the communities.
Good afternoon. My name is Sheena Glover. I am a resident of Contra Costa County. I have 4 children, 27-year-old, 21-year-old, 6, and a 3. I'm also a foster parent, and who my 3-year-old is the child that I have adopted. I was able to receive him at 1 week old, and it's been a true blessing to have him and to be able to, like I said, not only foster but also adopt. The child that I will be discussing today will be focused on my 6-year-old who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3.5, and it was more so, again, Regional Center East Bay assisted with that. Also First Five did, but I really had to truly advocate because there were signs that as a mother intuition, I just knew. So I had to keep pressing for further testing and so on and so forth to make sure that we did get the appropriate diagnosis. So I'm here to discuss that, and also on the other aspect, because I have grown so much with the experiences that I've had to go through with my 6-year-old. I've had to change my parenting style completely from the way I parented with the 21 and 27-year-old. It's now opened my eye to look into being a child care provider myself. I haven't figured out if I want to go in the aspect of having child care within my home or to actually work at a statewide agency or even the public school. So again, with going through the experiences, my child, my 6-year-old, I feel now that I have developed some skills, and it has opened up my heart to want to assist and educate other kids with the same diagnosis. Thank you.
Thank you all for your compelling stories compressed in such a short period of time. And seriously, I had no knowledge of any of their life stories. And what strikes me is the richness and expansive of your families as we focus on any particular child with a neurodivergent disability. So thank you for all of that. So the first question, which I will just arbitrarily ask Connie to begin, is as follows. What would you want early child care providers and early child intervention professionals to know and understand about raising and living with a child who is neurodivergent and with a disability, okay? What would you want them to understand?
Okay, first of all, I think probably the most important thing for me is for them to understand that neurodivergent children should not be compared to other children. I won't say normal, I will just say children who are not neurodivergent. I think that's probably the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. The experience that I have had is that that is what has happened. You know, well, your child should be doing this at this age. And they just need to understand that the developmental, their development is not necessarily congruent with their chronological age. And so that's something that I would like for them to understand. I would also like for them to understand that they need to look at that child as an individual. I would want them to learn my child, what makes my child tick. Because the children on the spectrum, you cannot say that one size fits all. One size does not fit all. And it's very important that the person be willing to find out exactly, you know, what kinds of things, what kind of learner is he, what makes him tick, and that type of thing. And so those are some of the things that I would like for, and that I have looked for when looking for daycare for my grandson. And it hasn't been easy. It has not been easy. And the other thing that I would like to happen is when the time is up, or when the person who is taking care of my child feels like, you know, this is something that they can no longer handle, then I would like them to be honest about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, and so I know we're short on time, so I will let the next person, Maite.
So again, you know the question, what is it you would
Yeah,
like?
I am old, so please repeat me. Yeah.
Yes. What would you want early child care providers and specialists to know and understand about you raising and living with a child with a neurodivergent disability?
Well, teachers, I'm worried because she say everything. uh, uh, I finish. So it's not easy busy. Okay. So I just try to speak English, okay? I just try. So compassion. Compassion. I mean, I am teacher too for First Five for the last 7 years. I start because my son, I go with my baby to First Five, so the teacher, look at me, look my son. And she got it, and she say something happened. But she was so compassionate. I say, right? Okay. She was so kind with me. So I want to let you know, it's overwhelming. Is the right word? Okay. It's scary. I feel something lost in my life because new mommy, new country, no family here. I just think, oh my God, I don't know, it's crazy. Then when I go to First Five, I feel a community, a family. They worry about me, about my son. So I feel relief. I think, oh my God, this is my place. And I think, I don't know the word in English, but creo que eso me salvó. Yeah, say me. Thank you for teaching me English. Okay. So it's hard. I feel like I lost. The other people around me don't know nothing, but everybody say opinion. You need to do that. You need to, oh, you don't do that? Oh my God, you need to do. So I feel a bad mom and lost is the word. So like a teachers is be compassionate, and I think I go adelante de una pregunta, ¿verdad? Okay, I'm fine. So it's hard, guys. Thank you. Is the reason I say thank you because the families really, really need you, like me. And mom is lost like me. So thank you.
And yes, I have to piggyback off of the two previous comments. Definitely knowing the children, what's their triggers, I mean, sometimes it could be as simple as a smell or what they ate for breakfast. It's not going to be cookie cut the same schedule every day. Having, like she said, compassion and patience. It would be helpful if maybe the caregivers can have like a little check-in questionnaire in the morning. You know, what did your child eat for breakfast? Did your child sleep well last night? Anything else that you want for us to know about your child that possibly could have put them in this mood this morning? I believe our last guest speaker really hit it on the nose, also knowing the family dynamics, because that could be such key too as to what may trigger the child far as the behaviors for that day. And just being really communicative with the parents, for it to be a partner relationship. You know, I would hope for the caregiver to really be, want the parent to be involved, so that we can connect and discuss on what is best suited for that child, because you can't just have one set curriculum. I know a lot of the state-funded child cares, they do like to have a one set curriculum, and it just does not fit for all children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had the chance to interview two families this week in anticipation and preparation for this, and I gave them the same questions. So the first family is a husband and wife whose son I met at the age of 2.5, who's now 33, 4 years old, and in the adaptive living center in Concord, and I still take him out to lunch. And they shared with me, and very similarly to this other person, this is a mother of two children, one boy, one girl, on the autism spectrum, and she's a neuropsychologist herself, so this sort of hit her in her own backyard, so to speak. And the things that they suggested, and I'm curious how you all think about this, is one, please do not assume that parents understand and have the experience and knowledge, no matter how they present themselves, because they didn't enter into this with the expectation of having a child in a neurodivergent pathway. The second, and sort of that correlates with it, is to avoid, I'll say judging, but I don't mean it to sound harshly, but avoid thinking that maybe something's wrong with the parent or the mother or the father when they are concerned or complain about how their child is doing at home. Children who come to preschool in whatever capacity and are lovely children and very sweet and nice and seem to do well for an X number of hours a day in no way implies that they will be that same child when they wake in the morning and when they go to sleep at night. And I would have to say, one of the greatest laments that I've heard over the years, I'll just boil down for a parent, is they just didn't believe me. So I'm here to suggest, and I do this with education of pediatric residents all over the country, always believe a mom. There are not many dads out here, but I'm a granddad now, and we're good, but if a mother is concerned, believe her until proven otherwise. Ask, inquire, gently challenge with the idea of trying to understand, but to please avoid judgment. Does this resonate with any of you? Did you want to say anything about that?
I was going to say, I believe in my first answer, the question is, a mother's intuition is usually, pretty key or on point. So, even if you may not see that same pattern at school every day, but I'm telling you, at home, something is not settling or this may be the trigger, then yes, please take that that to heart, what the mother is, saying, stating, or recommending, because it generally will come out. You will end up seeing it in the classroom setting soon, if not that day or, later. Something will trigger and say, oh, okay, this is what the mom meant by that. So yes, mom's intuition.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go on to the second question related to the concept of inclusion. But I want to define it a little bit differently here. I want to separate out the concept of inclusion from the definition of inclusive services. That's a different concept or different definition altogether. So I've asked each parent to think with their minds and their hearts about this in terms of what inclusion, in any way you can imagine it, what that means for your child and for you and your family. So, should we just begin again?
Okay. Well, inclusion for me basically means that Messiah will be able to participate in and be involved in as much as he can participate and be involved in the general things that other children are involved in. Right now, I am looking into a number of activities for him. And I'm finding that there are more than I actually thought. Someone told me that there actually is a softball league and a basketball league that they include autistic children. And I said, well, what happens when they don't want to play or they are having a meltdown or what? And he said, oh, it happens, but we just, we understand, and when they come back to play, they come back to play. And
May I just mention that there's a particular professional basketball player in the Golden State Warriors who's notorious for throwing tantrums, shall we say, during the games?
Yes. And so I am finding that there are more activities out there than I had anticipated. And the regional center has been extremely helpful in finding activities. He's done swimming, and we rock the spectrum. He loves that gym. He goes there and has a really good time. And there's another one that has opened up in Brentwood, Be Exceptional. They have art classes and music. He loves music. And matter of fact, that's generally how I teach him, through music. He is very, very receptive to that. And so I just want him to be able to do as many things as he possibly can. And as far as I'm concerned, the sky is the limit. I do not want to tell him that, oh, you're autistic, you can't do this, or I don't want to hear, I would like for him to be able to, whatever it is he can participate in, to be able to do that.
It's so hard with her. Yeah, well. I used in two words. Creo que es difícil hacerlo en inglés. So, normalización. I don't know the word in English.
Normalizing?
Sí. What is the way for do that? Education. First, self-education, then educate the families, the other children. What happened in the school for my son? Other parents do this. Boop, 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 boop. It's hard for my son. He do this and start kicking my husband. It's hard. And I feel anxious because the other people do this, and it's terrible for my son. So I used to, maybe this family, this daddy, this mommy don't know. Here in this school, they have a group for special education. Maybe they don't know because I give the benefit of doubt. Well, that, you got it. So, what is the way? Education. If the people know, maybe the people can do better and be best. Because I really think the people is good people. I don't think, oh, he's a bad people and one put my day gray or something. No. Maybe they don't know. So, like a teachers, we can help in that way. It's not be different with my son or say, oh, little boy, you are so cute. No, please. Teach others. But first, yourself. I mean, I just think like a teacher, right? So first yourself, then you can teach others. Be conscious, then have compassion for others. But not for the ignorance, not from the ignorance. It's for your compassionate because you really like your children, your student, the family. I just say something so fast. Like a teacher in first 5, I think the families love me because first I love the families. I look the families, I look the children. I say, oh, this baby, something happened, but be compassionate. So I go with the resource specialist and say, you know what, the children, maybe something happened. So maybe we need to go slow, go with her, the mommy, because you never know. Maybe the mommy is scary or she say, no, nothing happened. So go slow, go slow. And I think is the key. You love the families then love you, and then you can help you naturally. You don't need effort and do nothing special, only love the children. I just think like a mommy, like a teacher. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Thank you.
And yes, to get back to the question of inclusion, what does it mean to me? Well, like the root word, to be included. And as a family, whether that means to be included or connected with your community, with your school, with your church, whatever it may be. And to focus on my child, I want her to feel included among her peers. Again, whether if that's in a school setting or at the park. But since we're, for the basis of this panel here, looking at the schools, for her to be included there, to be able to participate in all activities that is at the school setting. Maybe she does not know how to build Legos, but still when it's building time, that she's able to maybe have an option to do the building of blocks instead, or Picasso tiles, the magnetic tiles. So just making sure that the caregivers or the school teachers have a wide variety of activities that is still pertinent to that academic curriculum. Math, maybe she does not know how to just numerically put the 2 + 2 together as far as, writing out that way, but to make sure that the activity includes learning math in a different aspect. The 2, maybe she's into dolls, so laying out 2 dolls, and then you want to add another 2 dolls. Maybe her brain works that way. So for the caregivers or child, providers to diversify their teaching style, because not all children can learn in that form of fashion. I believe I heard another parent say something about singing. Maybe that neurodivergent child needs a song or a dance, a way for that to include them in the academic realm at that point in time. So again, like Ms. Connie said, the sky's the limit for my child to be included in all aspects, to be able to learn and have opportunities, and also on an equitable basis. I believe that we leave out that term equity, because you're being included, but are they being included on an equal level there? Is the same opportunities given to my child in an equal aspect as another child? So again, yes, that's what equity means to me. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sheena. I promise you, these were not hand-picked parents of these stories. They are extraordinary and eloquent and really understand what they need and their children need in order to succeed. So thank you very much. When I asked the families that I mentioned earlier about inclusion, the mother and father of now the younger man said that when he was young, what they wanted was for their child to be liked and normal like everyone else. Now, they have since evolved, as has their doctor, and I am one who does not anymore think of the concept of normal. Normal is defined by the group that's in charge. Normal is defined by the largest population or the one with the most power. But truly, there is no concept of normal, and I'd be glad to entertain this as a conversation when we open this up, because we'll have a little bit of time. The other parent, the one with the two children, mentioned that at the time when they were young, she was just hoping that her child would do everything that every other child does. And both of them acknowledged, without me asking, that this was both their dreams and their fears, based upon their grief, of the reality of having a child who was not the child that they imagined they were going to have. Okay? And that grows and evolves, and it develops over time. So, having spent more than a few years in this field, domestically and internationally, the only definition that I can come up with for inclusion is, not to think of it as a service or a specific thing, but inclusion is where my child is embraced and can thrive. My hope is to depoliticize the concept and to delabel it, because so many agencies and organizations, from UNICEF and WHO down to your local school district, try and define inclusion or inclusive services in their own way, which I find usually to be more exclusive than inclusive. So again, where my child not is accepted, accepted's not good enough. I would ask all of you, if you're excluded from something, how many of you will feel personally comfortable that somebody will say, well, now you're accepted? Do you want to be accepted? No, because that's still othering. So it's all about being embraced, okay? So what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, Liliana, is open it up. Do we have questions on the cards, or shall we just open it up to people just standing up and raising their voice? Okay, go for it.
I think we still have some cards, index cards at the tables. So if you have any particular questions, yeah, feel free to write it there. Raise your hand. Emily and my colleague Sandra both will go around and collect those from you all, so we can ask some questions of the parents.
Every once in a blue moon, I've done other panels before, you see a question and you just go, As providers, we understand it is hard for family to share or trust us because sometimes they feel we will be judging them. And this person believes that communication is the key for this, for developing the trust. What would you suggest as a way to sort of bridge that judgmental gap, so to speak, between parents and providers who really would like to develop better trust and communication?
You know, you see this in, higher grades, but I think it's something that we should start, from the 0 to 5. If providers can have what we, kind of like a typical conference, try to schedule that more often, or start scheduling at this age group. Because again, I know with the providers I've used, I have not had that to where that is on a more frequent basis where the parent and the provider is speaking to each other. What milestones do you feel like your child is at? Do you feel like this program is working for your child? What are you actually doing at home, so we can make sure that we're paralleling of what the parent is doing and what the provider is doing. Asking the parent, is there anything that you would like to share as far as what may be going on in the family household or dynamics? Also, the provider giving resources. I know this word has been coming up lately a lot and things I've been engaged with, but like a green book, because some parents don't know. So maybe the provider has other resources that they can give to the parent to help the child. It's like we may have parents that don't even know about Regional Center East Bay. So is the provider giving these resources to the parent? So I think that would help bridge any maybe misconceptions or biases, again, communication, and even maybe asking the parent if the parent has time to maybe just sit in one day on, whatever the curriculum is or whatever the routine is of that child care setting that day. And it'd be kind of like a parent, visiting in then, and then they can chime in and take home whatever techniques the provider is doing in the facility and take that home and do that as well.
One other thing that I want to piggyback on what you were saying about, checking in and making sure that at some point in time that you have maybe just a little conference about, different concerns and, if you're on the same page about things. But one thing that some daycare providers are not familiar with is the fact that many of the children are getting ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis, and this helps them with their socialization and behavioral difficulties. And very often, a person from that particular company that they are going through, a lot of times they are available to come in and be with the daycare provider to sort of bridge some of those gaps. And so if that's available, that's an excellent resource for daycare providers to actually be able to have someone with the child to help with that particular child and help with the communication between all three.
Thank you. So let me bring this up a little bit further. There's a great follow-up, and of course we're going to ask Maite to address this in a moment, which is, so what happens if a parent does not want to engage in conversation? How can I, as the preschool preschool provider or teacher, share my concerns with the parent? If the parent does not want to communicate.
This happens all the time. It's not about mommy or the daddy don't care about. No, it's scary. I used in my husband and me want to my son speak different language. Our dreams, right? Oh, we want he go around the world, speak with different people for different places, countries. Oh, amazing. And boom. When I call the regional center, they say, do you think about autism? I say, no. Why? I am healthy, young. Well, no, not so young, but I just think that, no? No, autistic? No. Yes. Oh, yes. So it's scary. So I just think like a mommy, be honest. What I want for my teacher, for the teacher, I want she be honest, she or he. Real. I just want feel she look my son and she care about my son. And then, magic. Because for sure, I hear my best friend because I know I am important for her or for him. If you take the first step for this, for the reality, for be compassive, I say, I tell a lot about this word, but it's real. Then the parents hear you, for sure. Guys, yesterday one mommy gave me a big, no sé cómo es ramo de flores, flower bouquet. beautiful, pink, and give me a hug and say, teacher, I love you. I say, well, I feel important right now. And really, I feel important. But I think it's only like a mirror. So when you are real and really look the children and you connect with the families know. Families hear you, pay attention. But this is not a no. You need to be prepared with resource, information. For you need know about connect with a specialist. Because if you say, you are important for me, you need one specialist, but I don't know what specialist go and ask other people, it's not effective. You need to be prepared, and then you can do everything for the families. It's my experience. Maybe no, but I think works.
It's a wonderful answer. Thank you. Sheena or Connie, did you want to add to this?
Yeah, I believe the provider was asking if the parent does not want to communicate. Is that what I understood the question? Okay. And that can be very challenging. I'm complete opposite. I love to communicate, so I'm trying to wrap my mind on that. But you will have some parents that, like she said, this happens, and that could be difficult for a provider. My suggestion in that aspect would be to try to communicate. I don't know if it's verbally not wanting to communicate. You know, right now everyone into email, so possibly sending emails and sending the child home with visuals. I think that would be helpful, because if you see that the child was needing help in different aspects, maybe you can send visuals, different resource guides, or extra templates of, I don't know if it's like a art project or something of that sort. And hopefully that parent will see those extra things coming home, and will finally click for that parent, like, wow, this provider is really going above and beyond. I know it's very time consuming, but hopefully it will click to that parent that this provider is really trying to get my attention. They're really putting in extra time in my kid. They're really paying attention to that my child needs these extra resources or extra needs or extra, activities or resources. And hopefully that parent will really open up their eye and say, I need to reach out and communicate and be receptive to what this provider is giving me or giving my child. So yeah, I think maybe communicate with possibly, like I said, some visuals. That would help.
That's excellent. I want to thank you. I want to connect the previous presentation that we just had to this very topic. We live in an extraordinarily unique area in Contra Costa County compared to almost the entire world in terms of the diversity of cultures. And cultures come with their own sets of rules and values. And we can't assume those unless we're familiar with those cultures. And I don't know how anybody can be familiar with 35 different cultures, right? So we fumble a lot. But we can't assume that everybody's going to communicate just the same way that I do, right? I've made that mistake so often. The joke with residents is I've put my thigh in my mouth so many times. The other part to it is and sometimes this isn't so easy, is the acknowledgement of grief in a parent. That's not denial, guys. In fact, I don't believe in denial. It could be grief, it could be depression, it could be shame. You know, we didn't speak much about inclusion and shame. Huge, huge theme, okay? Even in as diverse and open a culture as Contra Costa County. And so when a parent is not communicating or not receptive, maybe it's going for the really small stuff, like the visuals, or an email, or if you happen to have tickets to Pixieland, or something like that. Just really tiny stuff, because we can't force it. Right? That's right. And kind of,
So, creo que es algo muy importante, por eso interrumpí, perdón. Teamwork. Teamwork, because sometimes I look the children and I think, oh, the mommy is not ready, because I ask something and the mommy say, yeah, oh yeah, for sure, and I can see fear is painful for the mommy, so I go with other teacher and say, hey, hey, resource specialist, can you go with this mommy and tell about this? Or maybe no is a specialist, maybe other teacher that is easy communicate. So it's teamwork. If I can, I'm like a teacher, I need to be really intelligent and say, okay, no superhero here, maybe next time, but she can help best this family. So teamwork. At first fight is amazing because you help me, and you go, everybody can help you. So that is amazing. We can take advantage for the teamwork. I just want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you again, Meta. And then Connie, and then I think we will conclude.
Okay, I like that teamwork. And I also wanted to say that it's not always that parents don't want to communicate. Sometimes they are just, in this busy world, they are just busy and they have places to go and things to do, and they just, the communication is just not it's not on the forefront of their mind. And so it's not always that they don't want to communicate. And in my case, my husband does the drop-off, and the daycare provider always says, he's always in such a hurry. I didn't get a chance to tell him this, or I didn't get a chance to tell him that. And we've learned that he's the person that drops off. They should communicate probably with me. And so she sends emails, and we set time aside where we talk on the phone and those kinds of things if there's a concern. But again, teamwork. He drops off, I communicate.
Thank you so very much for sharing a little bit of yourselves, your personal lives, and your children. So first, a great hand to our three parents, Connie, Meta, and Sheena. And a thanks to Liliana for her expert translation as another example of the multitasking, multi-potential powers of your staff at First Five Contra Costa. And thank you to all of you for what you do. Thank you very much.
Around you. Yeah.